There's some new exciting things going on.
Yes.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. Let's dive right into it.
Yeah. So, y'all, how long have you been open now? Down here?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like 1 week was like a soft open week, a full week of soft openings.
Yeah. How is it so far?
Man, it's just trying to keep up right now.
Yeah.
It's been good. We're still learning a lot of stuff every single day that we open, but so far, I mean, I have no complaints. We have a solid group of employees that are just kicking ass. Like, we didn't even expect it to be as good as it is, but
Yeah.
It's hard to find good employees right now, and I think we just lucked out and got a solid group.
I think that's one thing, like, we were talking about, like, because we had plans to, like, try to bring some of our Shreveport employees over, too, just it's like, they kind of had to lay the land and kind of figure out, like, how we operate, how we want things to operate. But, man, and I even told them this to their face, like, the people that we hired, it's like, I know we're still in the honeymoon phase, but so far they're knocking it out of the park, so that's
yeah, man. It's it's one of those things, dude. It's I don't know, man. Y'all, I feel like you got the wheels greased already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think, man, you got a good product, you got a good culture, and you're just kind of maneuvering in a new space now. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And like a weird thing too, like just jumping in like straight things into things. It was like weird, like hearing from employees that like they had never like been around like their bosses being so involved, and that was just like such a weird thing to hear for me, because I'm like, if that's your baby, like why wouldn't you be involved, like. So, but I think like everybody down here kind of has that same mindset, so I think it helps,
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, everyone down here is hands-on, man.
Yeah.
So it's weird not to come down here. It almost freaks me out if I walk down here and one of the owners is not here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah. Like you can literally walk outside and just look for cars and say like, oh, they're here. Yeah.
So-and-so's here. So that's what I used to do. Like before I got down here, like full time, I'd pull up and I'm like, shit, Bo's truck's not here. All right, I'll come back later.
Yeah.
You come back in like an hour.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man.
Well, we still got to show face in Shreveport too. I mean, so we're bouncing back and forth. Luckily, we got three of us kind of tag teaming the whole trade out of being here. But right now, we're like pretty much Friday and Saturdays as much as possible. We're going to be here till close.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things happening in the kitchen and the brewery. Like we're always putting out fires left and right. But I mean, it's been pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, considering the amount of people that have came through there already, it's been pretty smooth.
Yeah, and also kind of like not knowing like what to expect, kind of a thing. Like last Saturday was like our, I guess, official grand opening, and it was just fucking wild. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just like, like at the Shreveport location, yeah, we do big events and we get big crowds, but it's also such a much bigger space. And we've gotten to the point where like we know what a large crowd for us is. I think like what hit us Saturday was just like a whole different fucking level,
It's like we're having our anniversary party every single weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's just like that. It's different. It's a different environment. Down here, it's like there's always something going on, even if it may not be at your venue.
Right.
And it just bleeds over into yours. It's like, oh shit, so-and-so had a bachelor party down here. Well, fuck, now they're having one here. You don't even know,
Yeah, no, that's what was cool too. It's just like new faces walking through the door, and like sometimes it's like they had no clue who we were before they got down here, and with it just being such a busy area, it's kind of like, well, let's go check this place out, and they end up having a burger, having some beers, and just staying, and kind of being able to tell people about like, oh, well, we've been here, like, so Seven Tap has been here. Then we tell them about the Shreveport location and all that other stuff. So it's been awesome, though, dude. We're excited for sure.
What about this food y'all got, man?
Oh man, it's good, man. So like we all kind of had input on it. Like me, Sam, and Colby kind of sat down and decided like what our menu was gonna be. And I think we talked about like something super simple that we could get out the door, rapid food times, and I'll give like 100% credit to Colby on designing that like burger and all that kind of stuff, and it's just been cool.
I'm glad we did not go with the original plan, which was just, I mean, it would have been fun, but we were going to go with hot dogs, just super simple, fancy gourmet hot dogs loaded down, which we still may toss in every now and then, but I think the burgers completely made it a whole different direction.
Yeah, it's needed, man. Like, where do you go around here besides you guys now? Like, where do you go to get a good burger? I mean, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, and it's
like all the spots that were here are gone.
Yeah,
you know, like the good spots. It's like,
yeah. I mean, Dak's closed down the street.
Yeah,
Twisted Root closed.
Yeah, Twisted Roots. I mean, like, where do you go?
It's very few options.
Yeah, that was one of the things. It's like, man, and you know, it's also like you have this variation of food down here, and like no one just like a burger joint. You know, we thought like, okay, I think this could feel kind of that, and then also the concept of it being kind of like a quick bite place, so where like, you know, everybody else, you know, you get waited on, but we've already seen like day one, like people just come in and they're like, they want to hang out down here, but they don't want to like sit down and be waited on.
Right.
They just want a quick bite, so they'll come in, they'll get a burger in less than 10 minutes, you know, burger and fries, and they're back to doing whatever they need to do. That's
a good concept too, especially like, I mean, I get that. You don't want to wait on a table, you know, or you don't want to be stuck sitting down, stuck for an hour, or you just want to go hang out with the friends. I'm going to run out here and eat. And then also like late night when you're buzzed up real good and you want a good greasy burger.
Or chili cheese fries.
Yeah,
you get them loaded fries. That'll top you off pretty good.
Yeah,
sober you up a little bit.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for you guys. I like the spot, man. I feel like I've been like doing some catering stuff like on the weekends. I'll see you down there constantly doing some sawing and some banging and some screwing on some shit.
It's been nonstop. I'm just glad to move past that stage, which I'm still got some sawing and gnawing to do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we pretty much designed the interior. Like, we didn't have anybody come in and do all that. That's all on us. We saved a ton of money doing it that way. And then you kind of take your vision, because we've, you know, looked at photos and traveled a lot, seen other breweries out there and what we like or don't like, what works, and just kind of tried to, you know, piece all that together into our little vision. We made it over there, and we still got some things we're going to add to it as we go. We just had to get open.
Dude, I mean, it's one of those things, man. I'm sure doing anything like that, starting that and trying to figure out, okay, well, I got to get open, you have all these, next thing you know, you got this hoop to jump through, and you got to jump over this, you know, through this like certifications and inspections and waiting on this to come back and all that bullshit.
It got to that point where it was kind of like, okay, everything's in place as far as the legal stuff. So like, we have to get these doors open, because I mean, you're paying rent already too.
Yeah, man, you're bleeding money,
like
man.
That, you know,
a lot of people don't understand that. They're just like, what's taking so long? What the fuck? Like, dude, you have it.
I mean, we wanted to be open before like the Hurricane Alley first concert opened too, because it helped us kind of get our feet wet, you know, with the soft openings, and like, instead of just opening wide open on a Saturday when it's twice as many as we've already had. It's like,
and that was the thing too. Like, I looked at like the schedule down here, and like, even if we would have tried to take it easy, like there was going to be no way.
There's no taking.
Because like, I was like, okay, like the barbecue thing's happening this weekend, and the stage is opening, and then there's more events coming, and that's why we kind of just made the decision, like, all right, we have beer, you know, our certifications and all that stuff's in place. Like, let's just go for it, you know. And see what happens.
Sure.
And it's been good so far, man. I'm happy. I'm really happy with it.
And y'all got a beer for down here too?
Yep.
That's in every spot.
Yep.
How's that going?
It's good,
it's
man.
Been good. Yeah. I think the word's still getting out on that beer. Like, it's just a new tap handle for people right now.
Right.
And eventually, I think as the marketing behind it, you know, gets out there a little bit more, and once you have the concerts going and maybe a little more promotion behind it, it'll really kick off. I mean, we've been killing it in our tap room. I know Bojack's, Frozen Piro, all of them are selling pretty good on it, and it continues to grow. It's only been about 2 weeks or so since they launched it, so they're already ordering more kegs and re-upping and everything. But
hell yeah, are y'all canning that too?
We're not canning it yet.
Okay.
It's kind of just our
kind of exclusive draft for this area, or?
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can get that beer wants it. It's available through our distributor. I think most people are probably gonna, you know, be over here that buy it, but we want to get like a Bossier themed kind of beer. Like, we've got Juice Port for Shreveport. I don't know what the plan is, but I mean, at some point we want to get like a overall Bossier City beer out there. We've got a lot of ideas on the table. But yeah, the EBM lager over here, it's light. We brewed something really crushable for, you know, a lot of people here just, they want to walk up to our bar and order a Coors Light. I mean, they don't understand yet. But I'm like, look, you know, Coors, Miller, whatever, Michelob. If that's your jam, like, we don't sell it because we can't legally. But here's our house lager. Give it a shot, and most people are cool with it. You know, they like it. I mean, it's.
But it's wild too, like, cause like, so soft openings, of course, the soft openings happened. They were very small crowds, and then so like I would say officially we've been open a week. Our first weekdays were kind of hit and miss. Obviously, last Friday, last Saturday were crazy, right? The amount of some beers that pushed out, like of course EBM outsold them all, right? But there was other brands like we had brought over, what was it, 1/2 barrel of like one of our triple IPAs, which is like 10%, like just it's a monster of a hoppy beer, and that keg is gone.
Really?
Yes. And like that stuff to me, I'm like, man, that's wild that they're like that, like. So there is some craft beer drinkers down here.
I think they were buying it by the name. It was all honk, no tonk.
yeah.
And they saw. I think some of them see the 10%, but like that's fine and good. Like if that's the reason you want it, but then they're actually trying it and drinking it, and a lot of people liked it, and that's their first dive into a big 10% triple IPA.
That's a hell of a jump too.
Yeah.
And, they may never come back from that. All they want.
I'm still not. I'm about to get into this, Don Pablo. I'm still not a beer drinker, man. I used to do it all the time. I don't know, man. I love tequila, but the thing is, I would drink those Dragon's Milk, which is like, what is that? What type of beer is that?
That's a stout, imperial stout.
So do y'all do one like
milk
that?
Stout, more or less. Yeah, it's a good beer.
That shit was strong.
We do some stuff similar to that. We've done a little bit of everything under the sun, I guess, at the end of the day. But
no, especially down there, like we're experimenting with like the seltzers and stuff like that.
Dude, yeah, you have the fucking is that like almost like a margarita or some shit?
Yeah, it's like a seltzer cocktails that we're doing, and those are doing really well. I'll tell you one that's like wild to me is Sam makes this. We do like a orange creamsicle.
I tasted it
seltzer,
the other day, yeah.
And like I can't drink it. Like that's just me. What? Like no, like it's delicious.
It's
but
too
it's
sweet
like,
for me, but it's fucking delicious. Yeah.
And dude, people were ordering that shit left and right
good,
and
man.
loving it. And even Brian came down from Bojack's. He's like, I see all these motherfuckers walking around with orange cups. And I'm like, that's what we want, because people are literally coming from over here to go get the orange seltzer and then coming back. So I think that's cool to see too. That like people, they might not necessarily be hanging out of at our place, but they're coming down and grabbing something. And but also I think that's the beauty of this location, that it's everything.
Yeah, man, it works out. It's so interesting how like you'll see it too the longer you're down here. It's like you'll have your little cliques.
Yeah.
There'll always be those, like you walk and you're like, well, there's this type of people, this. And they all intermingle well.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like you'll have some people down here and have some people over at P-Row, have some different crowd over at Bojack's, but everywhere seems to stay moving, like stays busy, stays moving. And I think, like you said earlier, finding like good employees and like sounding almost like a statesman over there. When but no, it's the fucking truth though. Finding good employees, man, it's really hard. And I feel like we've been talking about that for the past 5 years in this economy, man, the space, and I still can't figure that shit out.
No.
Like I don't know how the fuck these people are surviving.
Yeah, dude, it's a wild thing. Like I said, I don't know. Like Glenn, Colby's dad, was telling me, he's like, man, y'all did some good vetting on all these employees, and I was like, I'd love to take credit, but I think we just got really fucking lucky. Like of course I looked through people's resumes and stuff, but it wasn't like there was like a 5-stage interview process or some shit like that, But
yeah, we got lucky. I mean, you're also you're trying to get like a business model like that's fun to work in, but at the same time, like it's got some organization behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not asshole bosses by any means, but I mean, every now and then, we have to get on somebody, but at the most of the time, we're just having fun. Like, we all consider them all friends of ours and everything. So, I mean, we try to keep it that way as much as possible, so they enjoy coming to work. And
I think that's big, like creating kind of that atmosphere where it's like kind of getting them to kind of buy into the brand and embrace the brand, and just like letting them know, like, hey, you're serving a great local product, and that with people that really care. And by the same token, you kind of are straight up with them. Like, if I ever do have to say something to you, or not get on to you, but if I ever have to correct a certain thing, it's not personal. It's just you have to understand how much I have on the line.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing, man. Most people, you can't make someone care as much as you do.
Right.
You just never can.
Because they don't have the skin in the game like you do.
But to find someone that would even take that on and take a little bit of that burden or ride with you throughout the process is always something to be said about it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, also, like, you have examples of that down here, like people that, just people with all these other businesses too that maybe started off, fresh with like Bo and all them, and kind of took a chance on them, and they took a chance on them, and they bought into what the culture was, and they're in positions of of leadership now with all these guys down here, which is cool to see too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. There's not like a fucking business seminar you can go to to figure this shit out.
No, there's
it's
not.
something about synergy or something, man. I can't explain it. It's really weird.
Yeah.
It's like it's never by like plan or design. Like it's just kind of like
It's
just
wild.
kind of like the domino effect, but in a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I think like our philosophy too is kind of just like find good people, and then like, cause I can teach you beer. And even if you're not a huge beer drinker, like I can teach you like what our beers are supposed to taste like, why we brewed those beers that way, how to explain to customers, how to, extract from them what they're looking to drink. Like that stuff can be taught, but you can't teach like hard work or personality or shit like that, So that's kind of what we try to focus on.
And I mean, at the end of the day, we're a craft brewery. It's kind of a different business model than most places out there. You got your restaurants and bars, but the employees are just serving someone else's product, and they don't really care to take the time to learn about it.
Right.
And their bosses don't even know what, they don't know how to tell them. I mean, they're just serving Michelobes and mixed cocktails and stuff. But at the end of the day, everything we serve, we're making it, from scratch. And it's just it's a different customer experience when they come in and they realize like all this is homegrown.
Well, it's
like,
emotional.
Stuff.
It's emotional.
It just resonates a little more with people.
What kind of? Oh no, go ahead.
No, I'm saying like it is cool to play on that. Like, hey, this was made here. Like,
yeah. No, of course. I mean, that's a big deal, man. It really is. Like, yeah, and y'all got into this. We talked about this before, but it's been a while. Y'all got into this just kind of on the weekends, messing around, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we all got into it through different forms and fashions. I mean, my little story, I guess, is more or less just on my lunch break. I went to like the Pierre Bossier Mall. I used to just go mall hopping for an hour and goof off. Most of the time I was at Sears. In this case, I was at Sears going down the clearance aisle because I'm a cheap ass, just looking for random crap on the shelves. And they had a brew your own Mr. Beer kit. It was like a little 2.5 gallon kit. I bought it for like $8. Went home, watched a little video on how to brew with it, and made a brown ale. 2 weeks later, so we had beer carbonated in these little plastic bottles, and invited a few friends over there, and cracked a few, and caught a buzz with like our own, my own products. And I was like, well, this is crazy, man, because I was already going down like kind of the craft beer rabbit hole at the same time, trying all the Abitas of the world and everything. And after that, because I've been into all sorts of hobbies over the years, and that one, there's a whole rabbit hole you can go down, obviously, and I just took it, and over the course of several years just kept upgrading my homebrew system. And anyways, we all started.
I was just Sam's roommate, so
you're just there.
Not an official taste tester.
And then I kind of got into it, and it became this thing. And then, of course, we met Colby through like different other beer events. I knew who he was. I just we didn't have that kind of like a friendship or anything. But then when I realized that he was in craft beer and we started talking, he was just he's a cool dude, and started hanging out with us and just beer, and then it turned into the 7 Tap basically. So yeah. And to think, but this was like what? Now it's been like
that's a long time ago.
12 years.
It's a long time ago.
I keep saying 10, but I've been saying 10 years for like the last 3 years. So I think it was 2014, 13 when we started that.
Yeah. So I would have never envisioned it. That's for sure. I think as the years progressed and we started doing festivals and stuff, I think the goal was like a craft brewery to like eventually open one, just because we were getting so much good reception and feedback on it. And we started like just dreaming about a brewery and like going around town looking at different buildings that were for sale. A lot of old, like, it would not have worked. Had we no. It may have worked. We were actually looking at where Bojack's is now. Before it was Bojack's, we fucking goofed.
Probably about 6 months before they moved in, we were looking at it, and at the end of the day, like, that would have been a fun spot, but it's not big enough for us to do like what we're doing now with with production and sending beer around the state.
But I think we also looked at like a spot down here too, remember? And it was on sale for something.
Oh, we found a lot. Yeah, there was a lot over there by the train tracks.
Yeah,
and we heard there might be issues with the land. Like, I don't know, but Yeah, we kind of got lucky with the building we're in Shreveport, for sure. And I mean, it took us a while before we actually started like moving towards renovating it into a brewery. Like we sat on that building paying just interest only loans on it for probably close to 2 years or something before we ever broke ground. I mean, looking at it now, that was, I mean, I don't know. I guess that was the right choice, but
because we opened during COVID. And
yeah,
stuff
we would have if we would have
yeah.
started breaking ground sooner. We'd have been shit out of luck with COVID hitting, and we started construction. We were about to start construction, and then COVID hit, and we just basically took like a 4 or 5 month pause just to see if the world was really going to end or not.
Yeah,
and then you know, decided about summertime of 2020 to kick it off and go for it, because we still had like a year before we would have ever opened it. So
well, it's crazy to think like we talk about that like everyone knows what it is and what it means. And it was just 4 years ago, but it's like now it's like some kind of like thing that's stuck into our history now. Like, you know what I mean? Like something they're going to talk about it. You know, it's just like this game changing, you know, turn of the century or whatever. Right. You know, like this 1 year where everything just stopped. You know. Did y'all see what the fucking? Were you freaking out over Facebook shutting down the other day?
Yeah, dude. Because I
had all kind of clients hit me up and shit, and I was like, "Look at this!" I popped open LinkedIn, and I was like, "Well, this one's still working. Y'all should diversify your portfolio."
Yeah, so like I googled immediately, and like I texted him. I was like, "Is y'all's Facebook down?" Because I had just made a post or something, and I was like, all I could think about in my head, I was like, "This is really shitty for businesses that are trying to promote their stuff right now."
All I could think was they need to be using more platforms than just Facebook. They need to talk to me.
That's true.
You know?
Like I use
Facebook owns all the other stuff.
They own Instagram, so that was down too.
Yeah.
And we have a TikTok, but I feel like I'm just.
Do we have one? I don't know.
We do. But I just feel like it's just not. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a young man's game. I feel, and it's making TikToks. Just I don't know. I've thought of like getting like an employee one day to kind of run.
That's what you do. Account. That's what you got to do, man. Get somebody who's in the game and who's gonna.
Yeah, and we have a Twitter too, but I never get on there. It's just
X.
X
now,
now,
it's Twitter, bro.
Yeah, sorry.
X. But no, I just thought about that. It was funny. I was sitting there and I was like, "Look at this." We've seen it before, but like we have so many clients that we work with that we help with those things, and then I have people personally hitting me up. Did my Facebook get hacked? What's wrong? Did my Facebook? I'm just like, calm down. It's either it's down or it's Russia. Either way, you can't do anything about it.
You know, it's nice to have it down for a little bit. They should probably do it like every year, like for about
just a little
day.
purge. Dude, people would lose their shit, man. Yeah. They really would. No, it's crazy, but no, and y'all done a really good job of marketing. You've done a really good job of like product. Like what I always, and you and I have talked about this before on the Tequila Show, but like what I always like about it is that you're constantly putting out a new product. You know, and like, where do y'all come up with the inspiration for that shit? Like, how do you keep finding these? Like, for me, I don't know beer that well, and I'll admit that. And it's just like, oh, this is just another beer. I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Like, how many beers can you fucking make? You know,
unlimited.
I guess a lot.
Really. Yeah. I mean, you can just go and go and go. We try to. At the beginning, we were just pushing out new beers all the time. Now it's a little more organized, I guess. We don't do as many as we used to, but when we do them, like we try to really focus on the marketing behind it, make sure it's, you know, well known, big release, do a good job at it. At first, we literally had to pump out beers left and right, and eventually we kind of landed on our flagships. But at the end of the day, like customers, like craft beer drinkers, they just want something new all the time. So we almost have to do it out of necessity.
Yeah, it keeps things interesting, but at the same time, you have people that are creatures of habit, so you have to have those beers.
Yeah, you gotta have your staples or whatever, I guess. Yeah.
And ours has turned into like a little more like we have like Don Pablo's a staple, Juiceport's a staple, our Wave series is a staple, and Linwood Lager is now a staple at the Linwood location, just like EBM is a staple down here. But there's also like Foe that's not officially a flagship, but we can't run out of Foe because there's people that come to our tap room in Shreveport that are like,
what is that?
It's a golden stout. Yeah.
It's a golden stout, so it looks like a light colored beer, almost like a Don Pablo, a little lighter shade than that, like a light amber maybe.
Yeah.
But like when you look at it, you know, it looks light. If you were to close your eyes and drink it, you might think it's like a dark stout because of the adjuncts in there. It's got like cacao nibs, vanilla beans, and then we use a local coffee roaster, Lion's Pride Coffee. They're in Shreveport, but he roasts coffee for us. Peter Lyons roasts coffee
Peter.
for us.
Shout out to Peter. He's a nice guy, man. I like him.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yes, he's a wild
He's a good
man.
time.
He's a trip, boy. He's a trip.
Good time. But yeah, we've actually had him out, and we're going to do it again soon. But he's came to the brewery for like a little private event where he goes over the entire like coffee process. Which
Yeah.
a little bit, like a little short deep dive into it, and people come out, drink his coffee. We'll do a little faux tasting, tour the brewery, talk about things, and I mean, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to change it up this time, but yeah, I mean, it's something fun. Just another.
Well, that shit is fun, man.
road
Like
to
building,
bring together.
like being able to do that with. I feel like you can't do that with just anything. Like you got to have some kind of craft item and the right atmosphere, and you guys have that, which is exciting. So you can do whatever the hell you can do. Tastings, you can do pairings, you can do all those things. That shit's fun. Like whereas if you're a high volume establishment that's just turning out, whatever it is, Bud Light. And so I mean, you can't do stuff like that. I don't feel like, you know what I mean?
No, you can't. That's kind of like it is one of the issues that we're kind of running into right now is with like still keeping the unique experimental aspect to certain beers that we do, but also like these staples, like, because now like there's certain beers like Don Pablo has to be out, Juiceport has to be out, Waves has to be out, because I mean those are all over Louisiana now. EBM with like the volume that's moving just in this area now, like that has to be.
Well, how do y'all like just like distro wise? Y'all just like how much do you have to pump out a week?
That's the same question.
It's variable, but I mean, I get orders monthly. I kind of now that we've established ourselves a little bit, we kind of know what we need to do more or less to have the correct amounts on hand. We always try to have like a par level in inventory. But at the end of the day, like we have 3 distributors, like one's covering like pretty much the whole state except for Shreveport, Bossier, and Lafayette. So their big markets are Baton Rouge and New Orleans. We have another distributor that covers Lafayette, and then here locally we use Eagle to cover Shreveport, Bossier, Minden. And they all give me like orders usually ahead of time. Some are better than others, but I know what I need to get for April now, and then beer's like about a month lag time from start to finish. So
I got you.
But yeah, I mean we're pushing a good bit out to distribution. It's not a ton. Like we're not in all the grocery chains. Like here locally, we got some in Brookshire's, but down south it's mostly bars, mom and pop restaurants and stuff. A lot of to-go beer and cans. And I just went to New Orleans last week for the first time since we've been opened, so I actually got to get like Don Pablo and Juiceport on tap.
That's fucking cool.
Bars and
I didn't know that.
down there.
That's fucking
and it was
cool.
fun. Like
That's cool.
I'll buy my beer all day long down in New Orleans or something like that.
That's
Like
always
it
a
was
surreal
cool.
thing, dude. Like when you go to
That is, I didn't
and
think
you, like,
about
buy
it.
your beer.
Yeah, I didn't
They
think
And
got
like the bartender has no idea, and
You don't
care.
tell them
You don't
anything.
care that they
You
have no
just-
idea.
yeah.
You're just happy that like you're buying your product.
I did talk to
Nah,
one.
yeah.
Not all of them, but there's a bar down there. It's called Bud Rips, and they have like a Don Pablo shot special. Like so, you can get Don Pablo. I don't remember what it's a tequila, but anyways, you can for like $11 you can get a pint of Don Pablo and a shot of tequila. And have a good time. I had too much of a good time. But, yeah, that's the first time I've gotten a chance to get down there. And I mean, our beer's been in New Orleans for like over 2 years. I wish I could have broken away sooner, but hopefully.
And
I'll
that
get
is
down
the
there
difficult thing too with the distribution is like we're not big enough to where like we have reps and shit like that, So it's like
Yeah, I mean, do you want to get that big though? Like,
No, I think. I mean, it'd be nice to have someone that can kind of float, maybe.
Right.
But I mean, we can't really afford to do that right now. I mean, at the end of the day, if we could get like a little more like management staffing involved here locally, like I don't mind. I'll travel and do some of the rep work down.
what does that do?
south.
You just go out in different locations and say, "Hey, this is our product. Do you want to try it?"
There's a lot of
how's that
ways to
work?
go about doing it. You can formulate like tap takeovers and hit up a couple bars, restaurants, see if they want to do like glassware giveaways or something like that. Have at least like 3, 4, maybe 5-year beers on tap. Just get some marketing behind it that way.
Yeah.
You can also like go around, drop off samples at different bars and restaurants. But I mean, at this point,
It's like slinging fucking old school singles, bro, out of the trunk. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And I think like sometimes like a lot of places like they already carry your product, but I think like just showing face and like being like, hey, I'm the owner, I think, or being like, if you need anything, like, let me know or whatever. Not just kind of like putting a face to the brand kind of thing, I think helps sometimes with people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything I'm drinking, I don't get to meet who I'm. That makes it kind of fun. I'm like,
cool. Just a small little personal experience, and they'll remember that for, you don't have to hit them up every month. Like, you hit them up once a year or so, and like they'll remember that for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they don't know that there's other stuff out there. Like, like the distributor might, for some reason, only be pushing Pablo or only be pushing Juiceport or Waves, and it's like, well, if you see something on our Facebook you want, like, we can try to get it to you. Like, like, even if it's an exclusive, like, taproom thing, like for example, like this IPA, I mean, it doesn't get mass distributed, right? So you might have some places that see it, and, now that they have that connection with us, they could reach us out to us and be like, hey, I'd like to get that beer, and then we can kind of coordinate it with the distributor to make sure that they get that beer.
Yeah.
So
it's
cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it is cool how that works out, man, because it's just, I can only imagine, like, having my product and then, like you said, just going down there and just going randomly. Did you expect to see it, or you just walked it?
I knew. I kind of got some reports. I knew where it would be. I mean, I sort of planned it out a little bit, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know.
Still fucking cool.
I don't know. I could walk into a bar and not know, and
right,
because I don't know everything. I don't read detailed reports all the time, but I mean, I knew some of these places because I'd actually contacted or been in contact with them. Well, we just went through like a big changeover last year. One of our distributors, our South distributor for Baton Rouge and New Orleans, closed shop like last October, and so with that, like, I started getting all these emails and phone calls to the brewery, like people like wondering, like that's when that one came about from Bud Rips. He was like, man, we got a beer shot special. We can't run out of Don Pablo. And like, so I started linking him up with our new distributor. And so I had him on the list to go check out. But I had multiple bars, restaurants that were like, how do we get your beer again? Since this, other distributor's not selling it. And so just reformulating those ties again. I mean, we're back at it now, but we had a rocky little last quarter or so just trying to figure all that out. Because, I mean, you have one distributor sending all your beer to all these bars and restaurants. They go out. Now you have to get a new distributor. You have to relay all these bars, like restaurants' accounts. We had like 200 plus kegs just floating around all over the place, trying to scramble to get those back. I don't know. It was a little chaotic. But,
and I think I mentioned it in Tequila.
And at the same time, got the East Bank working on that.
But it got a little wild there, So it's cool now because I guess like we walk in our cooler and it's like not like filled to the.
Oh yeah, there was at one point like you couldn't even open the door. You couldn't even walk in because it was so full.
It was kind of an issue too. It's like, damn, we got to get rid of some. We got to sip some beer. But now it's
I did find out we were in the Tigers like baseball stadium now in the concession stand.
Shit!
That was also like
cool.
surreal. Like I saw someone posted they were holding This Beer Cajun and they were in Alex Bach watching like LSU baseball, and it was like that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, that is, man. It's just it is crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it's people don't understand when you take all that time and effort and put it into something. And then you all the way down to the label, man. Like people don't understand. Like this, just venture to guess is 2 or 3 hours of design.
Right.
Like that's back and forth with the designer before you even do the work. Just to get this one label.
Yeah. No, they don't
get it.
That's a crazy process too.
And but then you have the brewing. Like how long is that process? Like how long did it take y'all to get Don Pablo? Like how long did it take you to perfect that? I guess
Don Pablo was kind of around in the homebrew days. We were tweaking it. Obviously, I think a lot of things changed when we went to the production volume on it, but not by a whole lot. But we tweaked the recipe. We're pretty much done tweaking it now. But even at the initial start, we'd tweak it. But like you do one batch, you're typically about a month or so before you see the result of where you want to be. On the lagers and stuff, I mean, sometimes a little longer than that. Like an IPA or something, we can turn around in roughly 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so.
But that's to get something to try, and then you got
just to get the beer.
just to get it. And then you got to go in there.
I mean, you can do a pilot system, do a small batch, like 10-gallon system, and trial that way. But at the end of the day, like it takes you the exact same amount of time to brew 10 gallons as it does 500 gallons. So, I mean, for us, like. I mean, we just don't have that kind of time, so we don't really brew like small batch stuff anymore. If we're going to experiment, we usually just go for it and like kind of theorize it, like the recipe and everything, and just most of the time they're good. We've had a few little hiccups along the way, but I mean, just try to look over the recipe really good, make sure no weird things are happening, and then just go for it. Because I mean, luckily, you know, our distributors are pretty good at taking the one-off small batch stuff. It's not always like that. It hadn't always been like that, but you know, if at the end of the day, we can usually sell it one way or another. So I mean, we just experiment with the big batch stuff now.
Yeah. Well, y'all, didn't you recently do a barrel age something too? You have that come
barrel
out?
age.
Yeah, we did the faux.
Oh, that's the same one as the coffee. Okay, so that was barrel age.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's double X faux.
Yeah.
FAUXX.
Yeah, we put it in Elijah Craig barrels for 7 months.
Nice.
Which I will say, something came of that. I mean, because me and you have been talking about tequila barrels.
Dude,
forever.
that's why I'm looking at him. I'm like, we need a tequila beer, bro.
Oh yeah, we've done some mezcal barrel aging.
Yeah, but apparently, like one of the local Elijah Craig rep came in, and he actually tried the beer and he like loved it, and he also carried. He told me, he's like, I heard you're a tequila guy. And I was like, yeah. And he said, well, I carry Tequila Ocho also, which we've had on the show before.
Yeah.
I was like, well, if you could give me a barrel of Tequila Ocho, we can make something happen. And he was like, I'll see what I can do. So we'll
Fuck
see
yeah.
if that
Dude,
one were to come
I'll
through.
be your spokesman. I will drink that beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, those take longer. I mean,
Oh,
faux,
yeah, of course, it
the
takes a
7
while.
months with faux was a short turnaround. Typically, you're looking at like 12 months or more.
Damn.
Before you kind of see like
Before
the
you even
results
know if
want.
you're going to like it, right? Like,
Well, so I mean,
how's that work?
Yeah, but on the barrel itself, like, so it's sitting on a rack. You take just a drill bit, burn it, sanitize it, and you drill a hole into that barrel. You have a stainless steel nail that's sanitized, and once you drill that hole, pull that bit out, you're gonna have beer coming out. You sample it, and you can take a sample anytime you want. Once you're done with that, you'll just plug it back up with the nail. So I mean, you don't want to do too much.
do you find a beer that you know is good? Like, how does that work? Like,
Yeah, and it has to be a certain style of beer.
so you like, okay, you know it's going to pair with this type of liquor or whatever, or this wood or whatever, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times people focus on stouts, like the darker beers. Usually, typically, are the ones that people.
Why is
aging.
that?
I don't know. Stouts to me, like, they just get better, like the higher ABV they are. But like when you go up to like 12, 13% on a stout, you get that really heavy alcohol bite and some just flavors that just need time to mellow out. And if you're just going to sit around and wait for it to mellow out, you might as well just sit around and let it mellow out in a barrel or something like that. So that's typically where you see it is in the stout world. It's just thick, heavy, chocolatey notes and everything, and it just pairs with the bourbon typically really well.
I got you.
I mean, you can barrel age anything. I mean, we could do Don Pablo and tequila or something.
Dude, that'd be fucking badass.
I think it'd be cool. We'd probably like tweak the recipe, do like a 12% lager or something crazy, barrel age it. I mean, it'd be fun.
What's the percent? Oh, 4.5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's light, easy drinking.
Yeah, that'd be cool. No, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do, man, but
Well, the seltzer thing's cool too.
yeah, that's wild.
But y'all been doing that, like making the fucking, like damn near essentially like a daiquiri.
Yeah.
More or
Well,
less,
yeah, we kind of felt like we needed something that like was easier drinking for, you know, just not everybody's a beer drinker, and obviously the seltzer boom has been like big. Like, I mean, you see people walk around with Trulies and High Noons.
Yeah.
And all that.
I tried, dude.
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to, for me, is having the hop base or whatever you call it. Like,
Yeah.
it don't sit well with me.
Yeah,
But like, I
gotcha.
tried every fucking seltzer.
Yeah.
That stuff y'all made's delicious.
Yeah. But also, like, we just wanted like different options for people, but then it also serves as like a base for like other stuff. Like we do the seltzer slushies, and that just tastes like a regular daiquiri, basically, you know. So
A lot of people don't realize, I guess, that like with our license, you know, because we distribute or we're a manufacturer within Louisiana, you can't serve anybody else's alcohol. So like, we're just trying to have more diverse selections in the tap room, because we can't have wine or liquor and do cocktails. So the seltzer just helps us kind of fill in some of those gaps that, you know, people come in and all they drink, you know, all their significant other only wants wine or something like that. But I mean, so we have our waves, like it's a fruited sour beer. It's like the fruit goes in and actually ferments out. So it gives some wine-like characteristics, like a fruited wine, I guess. with the seltzer, you can kind of experiment and do all those crazy flavors like the orange creamsicle, the slushies, and then now like the little seltzer cocktails that we're doing. So it all just, at the end of the day, is just helping us have more to offer the clientele. And, you know, and that's for the foreseeable future. We'll never be able to do wine or anything like that unless they change it. You go to another state like Texas or Arkansas, like it's wide open.
Clue.
Like has that swayed people to not do what you're doing here? Like it has
Probably,
to, right? Like
it has to.
Yeah, I mean that's why Louisiana's got less breweries probably than like Texas. I mean, obviously Texas is bigger, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's a fucking bunch there.
Yeah, but I mean it's also kind of changed. Even people like, you know, like production, like in this area, it's just us and Great Raft, and. It's even changed people's business model. Like people don't know, like Flying Hearts started out just like us.
Right.
They
I
were a
remember.
Production brewery.
Yeah.
And then they changed kind of their licensure to doing what they're doing now with the, you know, now you go over there, you can get a cocktail, you can get somebody else's beer, whatever. And that's where Louisiana kind of draws the line where either you pick.
And this, from what I understand, is if you distribute, you can only do beer.
Yep.
But if you turn into a brew pub and you don't distribute anymore, you can still distribute your beer out of your facility.
Right.
And then everything else.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm simple, so I'm like, you know what I mean, taking it down. I'm not sure. But,
Flying Tiger just changed their license over. They were big. They were
they were really big.
Yeah. And on tap next door. But now you won't see them anymore because they're now a brew pub, just like what Flying Heart did.
Yeah. Which is wild. I mean, I guess people, I mean, like I said, we've never sat down and kind of looked at like the finances of it and said, okay, if we were a brew pub, you know, we'd be doing this and liquor sales and this and whatever. But I think we've always just kind of thought like our goal was to make beer. Like that was our goal, you know, like we wanted to be the best brewery that we could be. I think we're doing a good job of that. Statewide, and now like that the laws are a little more lax, that we've been able to add the kitchen aspect. Like I think for a while that wasn't a thing with breweries.
Couldn't even have kids in the brewery.
Yeah, stuff like that.
That just came about like probably 3-4 years ago.
So that is interesting too, because it's what people don't understand. Like it's not a bar.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't feel like a bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's completely different. Like so when you see someone's kid in there, you're like, oh shit, you're not like that. You know, it's just like it's more. It is interesting how that works and how the atmosphere is something that has to be. It's something that's been created here recently. It's not like it was around. You know, it's either like you're in a bar. It's like after a certain amount of time, it's getting wild. You know, it's not that way though. Whenever you guys are doing what you're doing, you know.
Right. No, it's still super like family atmosphere. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like Saturday nights down here. It's a
little wild after about 8:30.
We're not gonna have your kids out that late anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, it's been cool though. It's been cool, man. I can't complain about anything so far. Like we were talking earlier. I mean, I would have never pictured that we were gonna have 2 locations. Like that never even crossed my mind. Like that was not even a thought. And then when the opportunity came up, it was just like a no-brainer.
Yeah. Like I was so excited. I was trying to keep him out. Like he was telling me, I was like, "Shit, I can't say anything." I didn't tell anybody either. By the way, I wanted to fucking tell everybody.
And it's cool too. You know, like I said, man, like for them to like kind of come to us about it, and I've said it multiple times. For them to kind of come to us and choose us as the brand and the person that they wanted to bring down here, I think speaks volumes. You know.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity you don't pass, but now we're in that balancing act too, where it's like we got to keep. You know, and surprisingly, dude, like I'll say this, like Shreveport has not missed a beat.
That's good. Well, I figured that we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're tapping into another, like no pun, you're tapping into another market.
Yeah. North Louisiana, like especially Shreveport, Benton, Bossier, all that, like they're just not craft beer drinkers at the end of the day typically. But like now we're kind of forcing, you know, the craft beer onto them, and so to speak, like with being over here where they're all hanging out, they come in and like, you know, I couldn't tell you how many times someone walked into the brewery on Saturday and asked for a Michelob, and like I say the same thing every time. Like I'm like, you know, we only sell what we make, and anyways, get them on the EBMs and stuff, and like they're like, well, craft beer is a drinkable thing.
It's crazy
story.
They don't know.
Yeah, wild story. So last night, so one of our soft openings, we were over here, and I walked over to the Axe place.
Yeah.
And this was like 2 weeks ago, and I bought it. I just wanted. Me and Sam went. Remember when we walked over to the Axe place and we bought some EBMs? And there was a dude came up next to me and he ordered a Michelob. And I said, "Hey man, let me buy you a beer." And he's like, "All right." And he's like, "I only drink Michelob, dude." I was like, "Well, let me buy you a beer." So I bought him an EBM. He had a taste. He's like, "All right, man, that's pretty good." So he drank it and whatever. Long story short, like last night, me and Colby walked over to P-Row, and he was like, "Hey man, you probably don't remember me, but you bought me an EBM like 2 weeks ago," and he's like, "And this is like my 10th one."
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was like, "Dude, for real?" And Colby was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude." I was like, "Thanks for keeping supporting, man." And that was just cool, dude. I was like,
Hell yeah, man. That's what it's about.
I think like the thing with craft beer, I think sometimes it gives a negative connotation. Like people think maybe it's a little pretentious, or maybe it's a different thing or whatever. And I think when people walk into like either our tap rooms, they realize that like, okay, these guys are just doing beer at the end.
You
of the
don't
day.
have the same vibe as other breweries, though.
Right.
I don't know how to
There's a
explain
lot
it.
of bad craft beer out there.
Well, I've been to a lot of breweries and they fucking suck.
And
Like,
if your first experience is a bad craft beer, then you just assume every craft beer is terrible, and you don't realize like and craft beer itself. I mean, I don't know. It's just there's so many variables to it. There's so many flavors and options that you can't just say craft beer is bad, because it's at the end of the day, like we could brew something that's just like a Michelob or something. We choose like EBMs just slightly, got a little more flavor to it or whatever, but I mean, we're just going for what we think is going to be fun at the end of the day.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, it's like the thing too. It's like it's just a newer thing. I mean, when like the Miller and Coors families were starting out, I mean, I'm sure they were considered craft in the 1900s or whatever it was. It wasn't like a.
well, yeah, I mean,
like
I mean, it had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Everything has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Budweiser, like that shit, whatever. It had to
And
start
it's also
somewhere.
about like figuring people out too. I mean, like if you're not like a everyday beer drinker or you like a certain beer, I'm not gonna steer you too far. I'm not gonna be like, oh, drink this IPA, or act like I'm better than you because I have this beer knowledge on these other things, And I think that's kind of like what we preach to our employees too, is like we have an option for them. We just our job is to find that option.
That makes sense, because I mean, I was the type of person, even though I've never really been a beer drinker, I'd still would, if I would go somewhere and that's all they had, I was like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
And I would just go down the line. Let me try that. Let me try that. Let me try that. I know it can't be too hoppy, because like I love the citrus taste or whatever. I guess that's the hops or whatever.
Yeah.
But it gives me so bad acid reflux, dude.
Yeah.
Like I love the way they taste, but like it kills me. Like I can't even fucking swallow like when I'm done. So I'm just like, so I would always try to find something similar to like this, or like one of those really strong chocolatey ones or whatever,
Yeah, the stouts for sure.
Yeah. But it's like, you're right. I mean, there's something in there somebody can enjoy. I agree. I mean, especially when you have, I mean, how many do you have right now, like on tap, like different beers do you have on tap?
We have a little bit more in Shreveport. We kind of blew through all of our options over here last weekend. I think we got like maybe 7 or 8 different options over here. Shreveport, we have 24 taps, typically all 20, like one's not in use, but like, so 22, 23 typically at any given time. Maybe 5, 6 seltzers, 4 or 5 lagers. Always something hoppy, typically multiple options, a couple sours, and then some stouts sprinkled in there. And we got like 3 barrel-aged options now. So.
Hell yeah.
And we're always rotating them. Almost a new beer, even if it's a small batch beer or something like that, we almost try to have something new every week, if not multiple times a week.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, people don't realize, I don't think they realize what goes into all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
especially to take it. And, I mean, I guess how do you land on a new one? You're just like, we're going to tweak this recipe a little bit and see if we can come up with something new, Or do you like
on the hoppy world? Like they're all different in their own style, I guess. But some are just like flavors that are going in just for one keg in the tap room. Others are full scale batches. On the sour side, like different fruits are lending themselves to different flavors, and so we'll rotate it that way. Generally, the similar recipe. On the hoppy world, similar recipe each time, but the hops themselves are changed and the amount of hops are changed. So we get hops from all over the world: New Zealand, Australia, Germany, a lot from the U.S., and every country like lends itself to different flavor profiles and things, and it's just there's like hundreds of different hops like varietals out there, and I mean we couldn't even brew every single option out there really if we wanted to, and there's new ones.
What's the most exotic like that you haven't done that you want to do that's probably like maybe just the price point's too high to make it feasible to produce?
There's a lot of fun stuff in the hop world, like so hops come they're actually like cousin to cannabis.
Okay.
So they look like a bud
right.
in a way, but when we add it to the beer, it's not in that form, it's in like a pellet form. Back in the day, they used to just dry them out and throw like the hop pellet or the hop buds, the flowers, the cones into the batch. And for us, we use mostly the pellets, which it's a more condensed form of that, a little more concentrated. But now, fast forward to 2024, and there's like so many different ways that they're doing it now. Just like in the cannabis industry, they have like hop extracts and stuff. Like they have hop extracts that you can use. They have like all these like potent flavors that you can use, and they're very expensive in their own right. And we don't really do a whole lot with all that, but I think going forward we'll probably play around more in that world.
Is it going to change the flavor that significant?
Well, I mean, there's
enough amount to mess with it. Like
I don't know yet. I mean, in a way, yeah, it could. It could just give you less of like the grassy vegetableness, like you're talking about the acid reflux. Some of that due to the actual hop matter that's in there, and this takes all that out, strips it, so you just get the flavor, and maybe that would reduce your.
I think like another thing, like people like a lot of the shit we do too, like when it comes to like IPAs and stuff, is for us. Because and what I mean by that is that like we're still beer nerds, so like if there's like some new like hyped like hop that people are using, like we want to use it, right? And so like a lot of people don't. This isn't like a huge craft beer town by any means, so we're using a lot of shit that like some of the biggest and best breweries in the world are using.
Okay.
And we're a brewery in Shreveport, Louisiana that's using these hops, right? I mean, I can tell you that like 99% of the people that drink that beer don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't know. But to us, it's a big deal that like this one, we used a hop called Superdelic, which is like the new big craze right now. To us, that's a big deal to know that like not every brewery's using this, and we were one of the few breweries that is using.
We can't even get any more of it.
Yeah, we're one of the few breweries in the country that's using Superdelic. Again, nobody's gonna, it's not. But to us, it's like. We're doing that. Like, the 7 Tap is, and I guess it speaks to like the quality of what we're trying to do with like our beer and the product that we put out, because it matters to us, So I think that's a cool thing too.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like you can see it. Like I mean, if it all comes like, I don't know, man. A lot of people have product they put out and they just don't put a lot of time into it. But it sells. They're like, okay, I'm just going to leave it, roll with it. Right. No, we're not going to even do anything else. We're just going to double down on this, which is respectable in its own right. But at the same time, like you have successful items that you continue to just say, let's try this, let's try that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's cool, man. I mean, I'm sure there's ways we could sometimes like cut costs on stuff, but like to us, I think just like I said, like our goal is always beer. We love beer, so I think putting out these products that we're like super proud of is just like it does mean something to us still, and that's why we do it for, kind of thing.
Hell yeah. Well, before we wrap this thing up, how many do you have anything coming up, like anything you want to announce or anything, any shout outs or like plugs or anything you need to talk about?
I love my wife.
Yeah.
my son's about to be 4, so going to my party this weekend.
Shout out to him, man. Mm-hmm. Heck yeah. Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
Yeah, definitely the families, dude. I mean, shit's rough right now. Like I said, like getting home to your kid asleep every night is not
it sucks. It sucks, man.
It's not a good thing, and we're doing a lot of it right now, and then we both recognize that, like within each other, try to help each other get each other's back, because we're kind of both going through the same, like, balancing family and business and all that stuff. So shout out to them for sure for being, superstars during us, because you know, at the end of the day, like we're the ones chasing our dreams, and you know they're
Right.
having to put up a lot of bullshit to
Put up with all your shit and standing behind you, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm going through it myself.
No,
as well.
yeah, I know
it's,
you know,
look,
I know you know.
it's a lot, bro. But
Yeah.
it's it's cool to talk about that stuff and recognize those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That stand behind you through all this, because most people just walk in and see something and say must be nice. They don't understand all the sacrifices. You know what I mean?
Right.
All the no sleep and
There's a lot of stress at the end of the day.
Fuck yeah,
it's
it
not
is.
stress free at all. Every day's got its own
Right, but,
battles.
you know,
but, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's your product.
It's
your
worth
baby.
it. It's worth it
fun.
if you're passionate about it. It's
I don't
worth
know what
it.
I'd be doing like if I hadn't have done something like this. I'm so glad we did this.
Yeah, I got asked that question one time. Is like, would you do it all over again or something like that? And I was like, hell yeah. I would.
Fuck yeah.
I'd probably change a few little things, but I'd do
Right,
it. Yeah.
but- yeah, dude,
But
you
now
got
that you're in it, you
hindsight.
know, like you take like whatever, like negative things have come from it, or whatever you perceive as like, I guess wrong things you've done, or maybe things that you sacrificed, and it also motivates you to be like, well, I have no fucking choice but to make this thing the most successful thing that, like, it's got to mean
Yeah,
something.
because
you know?
I've already done all this.
Yeah,
and
I've already
missed all this time,
sacrificed-
and you know, not being
Yeah.
able to show up for this or that, or
So like, I guess the goal is to like when our kids do get older, that like you have this to show them, like this is why I did that kind of thing.
yeah.
So it's a motivating factor too.
Yeah, and I think most of the people, I say that, a lot of people they may just, you know, do their 9-to-5 thing, and they just don't understand. You know what I mean? It's nothing against them. That's what they're doing. That's their life, you know, but they don't understand. Like, they get to come home and shut it off. It does not work.
Yeah, and I hear people sometimes, and it's like, not complain, but they're like, fuck, I got to take the kid to baseball practice, or, you know, it fucking never ends. We're going to dance class and shit like that. And it's like, you know, me and Sam, of course I got Zoe, she's older, but me and Sam's kids are little, and we're not there yet, but we will be. But by the same token, like I kind of like take that as like, dude, just fucking enjoy it, because like getting home to your kid asleep like that, you know, on multiple nights within a week, like
It's my dream to take my kid to like soccer practice
Yeah,
one day or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, that's my goal, is to like get somebody in charge where eventually, like, my evenings I can free up a little bit to do something like that. Like
yeah.
now I'm not, but I mean I'm enjoying what I do, and like we
Yeah.
hang out on the weekends and stuff when we can. But
Yeah.
it's been a struggle, like
Yeah.
trying to get that family time. It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
It's either work or family for me right now.
Yeah, but you know, undoubtedly,
Mini
like,
vacations every
you
now and
have
then.
missed out on stuff, you know.
Yeah.
and that,
No
those are
doubt.
times you won't get back. But like I said, that's the motivating factor to like, this shit's gonna be.
Yeah,
worth
but
it,
you're gonna have something to show for it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So it's, you know, I think, you know, it's one of those things you don't want to do it, but at the same time, man, hopefully it's worth it one day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure.
Well, let's wrap, guys. Any
Let's wrap
last
it, man.
words or anything?
That's good. Let's
Awesome.
eat some barbecue this weekend.
Hell yeah. Yeah, congrats to you guys. I can't wait to see how busy it's gonna be this weekend and
It's gonna be wild.
and this next year, bro.
Yeah, awesome.
All right.
Thank you, man.